We will start tonight's meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we start the July 2nd meeting with a motion to approve the village board meeting minutes from June 18, 2020?
Move.
Second.
Any changes, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. No citizens' comments. We'll move on to trustees' comments. We'll start with Andy.
I just would maybe have Mike, Police Chief Mike Leffencheck, discuss the processes for enforcing the mask laws within the village. There's some questions that came up. We would like to know what policies we have in place to enforce it. Other than that, just the agenda items.
All right, we'll wait till Mike's up and he can address that. Okay. Mark?
I will request a short executive session this evening for the board members, and the police chief can sit in if he'd like to go over the contract status with the PBA.
Okay, that'll be item D on the agenda. Executive session, contract, PD. Okay, that's it, Mark?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, Megan?
I'd just like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July holiday. Other than that, just the agenda.
Thank you. We'll move on to Ruth.
Just the agenda, thank you.
Okay. Mike? Shep?
I'd like to also piggyback on an executive session for a police personnel matter.
All right. That'll be item E.
Other than that, stick with the agenda.
Okay. And Bruce?
I would like to just reemphasize something that was brought up during our work session, that the board continue to think about avenues in which we can get back to holding public government meetings once they're permitted. That all of us keep thinking of ways to make it happen.
Okay.
Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
Okay, I just have a couple things. I did check with the county. Libraries are on hold as far as opening libraries up. We still can get pick up and drop off, but there's no immediate plans to open libraries. They have cut the quarantine time down. When you take books back, they had them on a 7-day quarantine. Now it's down to 3 days, and they can get them back in circulation quicker. Stories are starting to circulate that surface contact doesn't appear to be a culprit in COVID-19 cases. So the Methodist Church, Pastor Mudge, held their first church on the island on Sunday. I heard there were about 30 people, and they did no singing as requested for churches. He said it was a little stiff for the first time, but overall he was quite pleased. And the point that I'm going to make next also was a point I made to him. None of our public restrooms are open, including on Paper Mill Island. So when people go out there for church on Sunday, you should be prepared for the fact that there is not a bathroom available. Now it's about a half-hour service, so hopefully people can be prepared to get out there and then get off and go home quickly if they have to. We have issues with trying to open restrooms, trying to keep them clean, safe, disinfected. We haven't been able to see a simple route to get that done and feel comfortable that we are keeping people as safe as we should. We'll wait for some more guidance if things change. That may change too. The docks, I don't want to steal any of Steve's thunder, but the docks are in And I did go by yesterday and there were a couple boats tied up already. So people were happy to see that. I see the canal opened up our lock on Friday. The entire canal is not open. There are parts on the east, parts on the west, and I think one near Oswego that are still being worked on and may be into August before they're actually open. So for our loopers who like to make that big loop from Florida up through the canal and then head west, they're not able to make that trip yet, which is kind of too bad because it's always nice to see those out-of-towners in the village. And I think that's about all I have. I do want to say one thing. On Monday and Tuesday, I'll send the chief a message. I send Greg a message, Mo, I talk to Steve. I talked to Ruth about what do you have for me to present at the live session on Wednesday for the public. And Mo's response was just doing what we always do. And I thought, that kind of sums up the village pretty well. I mean, we haven't missed too many beats. We've had, the water has run, any sewer problems have been taken care of. The police department's going 24/7, full speed. The clerk's office has been manned the entire time. Greg has been there the entire time. Somebody's been at the senior center, or the phone has been forwarded to somebody so that anybody calling the senior center gets a person all day long. So we haven't missed too many beats that way. And as a mayor, I take no credit for that. I give to you people that are out there doing the job every day, hats off. Know that your village people appreciate what you've been doing. Thank you. We'll move on to department heads. We'll start with our attorney, Bob.
Just one thing, and I'll keep track when the executive order on banning public meetings is due to expire, whatever comes of it in there, and whatever either the governor or NICOM come up with any thoughts, I'll get that out to the board members.
Okay.
But other than that, I'll stick with the agenda.
Thank you, Bob. And geez, can you grab me some grapes when you go out there tonight? Code officer, Greg.
Just want to say that the codes office has been very busy lately. Pools, fences, decks are, the permits are coming in pretty fast. I know some of the pool companies are sold out, looking to possibly installations into September now. So people are trying to get their pools in to have some kind of a summer vacation in their backyard, since they're limited to areas they can travel now. Just been really busy this week, and it's good to see people that are making improvements to their property too. So
No problems with lawns getting shagged?
we've got one property owner issue that should be taken care of this weekend, and beyond that, everyone's pretty much complying with the lawns. So
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Greg.
Yep.
And by the way, I sent you an email. I know you're going to have a Zoom meeting on the 12th. 13th Zoning Board of Appeals. And the suggestion would be 4 or 5 days before that, have a fake run through and have everybody who's involved check in, and so they can see the mechanics, because some of them may never have done something like this before.
Sure.
All right. And if you need help, let us know.
Okay.
We'll move on to village clerk and welcome Jody, our deputy clerk.
Hello. I will stick to the agenda.
Oh, come on. That's it. All right. I thought maybe you were going to sneak something in. Our treasurer, Anna's not with us. She sent me a note, some family issues she's taking care of. She's been really working extremely hard to try to catch up and get more of the end of the year report, and some of our monthly reports that we get to let us know how we're doing budget-wise. So she was disappointed she couldn't make it tonight. I told her not to worry about it, that she's been doing her share of work. Move on to the senior center, Ruth.
Well, just a couple things. We finally have a start date for the takeaway, walk up, drive up lunch through Peace. It is a frozen meal. The start date is Monday, July 13th. It will happen on Mondays and Fridays. You do need to make a reservation, so please call the senior center, make your reservation, and we can explain all the details and logistics about how we're going to do that. But we do have a start date, July 13th. So I'm happy to report that. Also, similar idea, the farmers market coupons, we have been told from the county that we will receive them. They have not heard from New York State Office for Aging on when, etc. So we would like to start having folks call to give us their name and their number and their interest, so that when we do have the information, we can notify you and explain how that's going to work. So go ahead and call the senior center so that you'll be notified when the farmers market coupons do become available. And we are going to start one of our fitness programs outside also in mid-July. The Tai Chi group and the instructor are agreeable and they want to give that a try. So we're going to, social distancing and masks coming and going and all the safety precautions that were talked about in the New York State template for safety. And we're going to see how it goes. Of course, it will be weather permitting. So, and that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
And would you give everybody your phone number?
The senior center phone number.
Yes.
Okay. 315-638-4536.
This seems like a lot of what they have to do is call you.
Yep.
In case they don't know that number. It's good news. A lot of good news from you tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, move on to Public Works. Steve.
Nothing special to report. I would like to ask people who are using our parks, the community park, we've had a lot of instances of dogs off the leash. And if we could just ask people to refrain from letting your dogs run, even when the park isn't real busy, because it does create issues with other people in the park. So come out, enjoy the parks, use them. They are available. They're kind of casual use at this point. There are no restroom facilities, but picnic tables are available. The sitting areas are available, and the playground apparatus is open for use. We just ask that you do keep your dogs on the leash in community park.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. Move on to the police department. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'll comment as to Trustee Dryden's question about masks and individuals that are supposed to be wearing them. As we all know, the governor signed an executive order, I believe back in April it was, indicating that individuals that could not socially distance, maintain a distance of at least 6 feet, needed to have masks. And throughout the entire time of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been receiving calls and have responded to them of individuals not socially distancing. And the way we have handled it, our directive to our staff is that when we receive these complaints is to respond to them and to take an educational approach with the individuals involved. Either maybe some of them, I think everyone by now should certainly be aware, but certainly take that educational approach and to try and gain voluntary compliance. And we've had very good success with that. Our officers and the way that they've responded to those, and we haven't had as many of those calls in recent weeks as we certainly were experiencing previously. Obviously, we've had some businesses that have been allowed to open, restaurants and some others. The governor's indicated that those places can require individuals to wear masks. I was out in the village on Saturday and at a local restaurant, and sitting at your table, you could take your mask off, but if you got a room or the door, you have a mask on. And the same with some of our other businesses that are open. I know we've responded down there in the past. I'm not going to name them, but different establishments in the village. That's how we've handled it. That's been our directive to our staff. And if I remember correctly, the governor's executive order did not list a fine or a penalty or an arrest. And that's not our goal. It's just simply to gain that voluntary compliance with people. Andy, I don't know if that answered your question effectively or not. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. One of the limitations to Zoom. I do have a couple other things, Mayor, if I could. First, I'd just like to thank the members of the community for their generosity. I can't tell you the number of items that have shown up at the police department, individuals coming in saying, hey, we support you, we support what you're doing. Today, one of the local businesses brought in, you can probably figure out who it is, an incredible amount of coffee for our officers that like that, ground coffee, freshly ground coffee, and some other things. And we had brownies earlier this week, brought in a big tray of those. It's been very heartwarming, and we certainly appreciate that. Our waistlines might not, but we certainly do. We have some new signage that Steve's crew put up on Canton Street. As you all know, if you've traveled Canton Street, especially coming into the village from the south, from Van Buren, it's a higher rate of speed. Then we get to the village at 30 miles an hour. And traditionally, that's an area where we have a lot of complaints, and we have a great deal of traffic tickets that we write every year. So we put some new signage up indicating a 30-mile-an-hour ahead, and hopefully getting some people to slow down there. That's our goal anyway. We are going to be enforcing that. We have been over the last few months, and we'll continue to do that. We do have a new video intercom system at the police department for individuals that will come to our building. Obviously, the building is secured and locked, but we've got an intercom system now where people can push the button. It's pretty much exactly like it is at our schools in Baldwinsville. Our communication staff can see them on a monitor, can have two-way communication back and forth, and we can triage what the people might need, and then we have an officer in the lobby, and then we're at. And for those of you that remember, back in the early 70s, when our department was reorganized into a community service organization, that it still is, we hired a brand new police administrator. His name was Doug Stinson. I actually had one of our officers try and track him down. I'm glad to report that he's alive and down in Florida. I sent him one of our department challenge coins and a letter. I spoke to his wife. He's having a little health issues with a couple of things, but he was very pleased to hear that the department is still on the same track it was as far as community service policing goes, is when he was the police administrator here, and happy to follow in his footsteps. And lastly, Mayor, if you'll allow, I did have a conversation with a village resident earlier this week who contacted me, indicated that she is white, she's Caucasian. Her husband, as she described him to me, is a very large, muscular black man. And she said that some time ago, they had ordered some food at their house. The delivery driver showed up. She has a special needs son. He was apparently acting in a strange manner. The driver was potentially concerned and called, thinking maybe that the individual who was her husband, who was at home, was somehow withholding this individual against their will. Two of our officers responded to that call, and as our village resident said to me, this could have gone badly in so many different ways. But she said it didn't. She said her husband, who was a former military veteran, been in the military for about 10 years, said the officers responded. One went to the front, one went to the back. Once he indicated what was going on, the officers were sympathetic to the situation, understood what was happening. And she and I ended up talking on the phone for probably 20 or 25 minutes, just about the department, the village. She said she had read the article in the Messenger online, I believe, about some of the report I had given to this body at our last meeting. And she said it was very apparent to them that what I had said about the officers and the training that they'd gone through was accurate. And it was really a great conversation. They've lived in the village for a number of years, and I was very happy to have that conversation with them. And I just felt that it was important for the mayor and our citizens to know that people do contact us, they talk to us, and it's great to have that feedback from the community and have that interaction with our residents. And other than that, if there's any other questions that anyone might have, I'd be happy to answer them. I would just go with our executive sessions later on.
a terrific story. Both the Doug Stimson story, you had told me that earlier, and then the one on in the village that you talked to. Love to hear those kind of stories. And hats off to you and your people for representing us very well. That's great. All right, what do we have? We're at the end of that. We're at no pending business. We're at new business. Can I get a motion to set a public hearing for Thursday, July 16th? Says June on our agenda. July 16th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. regarding the transfer of funds from the Water Reserve Fund to the general fund to pay for costs involved in the Genesee Street water main breaks.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
That's in the neighborhood of just over 15,000 and change. And that was a big time break, and we had to bring in outside help. And so we'll use our reserve fund and do it the way it's supposed to be, according to what our attorney tells us. Right, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Question.
Oh, question.
How will we hold the public hearing on July 16th, assuming that we can't?
In the public hearing notice that I gave the clerk, I indicated, and this is what we've done with the ZBA, that anyone who wishes to attend the public hearing, obviously the public hearing will be open, but if someone wishes to speak, that they call the clerk and ask for the password so that they could get on Zoom and speak during that portion of the meeting that is the public hearing. After that, then that person can then depart Zoom or can continue to watch but not speak, because the public hearing portion will be over with. But basically, anyone who wants to participate would be able to participate, and the only way they can do that is to get the Zoom password.
Okay.
I'm not sure that anyone has. Like I say, we've got we do have a ZBA meeting coming up where we've done the same thing. Greg, I don't know if anyone's called.
That was just published in the messenger yesterday, so we should be hearing within the next week or so if people want to be involved.
Okay. We'll see how this goes. But again, we control the meeting, so to speak, and it's a public meeting, but not open for comment except for the public hearing portion.
Okay. And Jody, do you know, did that notice get published on our website? So if somebody who's watching wants to do the call and request the password, the information that's on our website?
I don't know if it is, but I'll check with Mo on Monday.
I think she usually posts notices on there as well, but
okay.
I want people to go someplace in case they don't still get the messenger.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That was unanimous. Item B, can I get a motion to receive the bids for the Canton Woods Senior Center movable wall installation that was received Wednesday, July 1st, 2020 at 2 p.m.?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item C, can I get a motion to award the bid for the Canton Woods Senior Center movable wall installation to B.R. Johnson LLC in the amount of $16,125?
Moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That is the end of our new business. We're going to go to executive session. Anything else that needs to be addressed in the open part of the meeting before we go to executive session? Wish everybody a happy 4th of July.
Quick question.
Yes.
Seeing Steve sitting up there, can he have access to does the village have a Zoom account?
Yes,
Would he have access to it to use for DPW functions?
you can, yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
We'll
So you
get,
don't time out at 40 minutes anymore.
we'll send you the link so you can use the Zoom that the village pays for.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
I have one other thing I was going to bring up with the 4th of July coming up. Oh, Chief, one more question, I guess. Fireworks. That's been an issue. I haven't heard a lot of fireworks around our village. And I probably shouldn't say that because that'll come back to haunt me. But I've heard in the city, it's been terrible. Have we been having an issue, and what would you suggest to people who have fireworks and want to fire them off in the village?
Well, I'll answer part 2 first. Don't do. You know, I will say that traditionally, every July 4th weekend, we generally get some folks that, you know, for whatever reason, I mean, I know every year there's always been fireworks for the last decade or so. This year, obviously, there's not. But people still decide that, you know, the big fireworks display isn't enough. They need to shoot off bottle rockets in their backyard because that'll look great. You know, anything to echo County Executive McMahon's comments, Mayor, anything that goes in the air is not legal. We have not been having a huge problem with that here. I anticipate over the weekend that we'll get some calls. Again, we'll do an educational campaign with folks and tell them that they can't do that and that they're not supposed to be doing that and to cease doing that. Generally, we gain, you know, pretty good compliance from that traditionally over the years. People shoot them off until we show up and then they stop. So hopefully I anticipate that will be the case this year. But no, we have not had, knock on wood, the issues that they've had in some other municipalities.
Very good.
Just one thing to add to that, the DEC has issued a fire warning because everything is so dry in the area. Sparkling devices are allowed in New York State now, and that could be a significant fire hazard if you look at area lawns and areas where brush are. So.
Oh yeah, it's really dry. We need some rain.
Right.
Okay, we will move into executive session. Can I get a motion to move into executive session? One for an update on contract situation with the police department, and the other a personnel issue with the police department. Can I get a motion to do that?
Mark, I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.